Hey everybody, Jem here and welcome to my colouring cave. Today I am going to talk about the art supplies that live on my desk. I could sit here and do a review of my coloured pencils, but it's one of those things I feel as if it's been done to death on YouTube, so I thought it would be nice to have a look at the things that I use regularly in addition to my coloured pencils. As I say, the criteria for this is very loose. It's just the things that sit on my desk that are always to hand. So, they do get regular use, and it's products obviously that I like, and hopefully you will find something that you like too, or it might encourage you to try something out. So first of all, I want to talk about pencil sharpeners. I have these two pencil sharpeners, and this one is the Prismacolor pencil sharpener, which is designed for Prismacolor pencils. I also have the Tagal multi sharpener, and I do use both of these every day. So first of all, with the Prismacolor, if you flip open the top here, it's really straightforward. There are two holes, and I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to tip that in the light. There's a hole for a sort of stubbier, shorter tip, and a longer, thinner, pointier tip. So you have the choice of two. Sometimes it's just down to preference, but I do find a longer tip easier if I'm colouring in an adult colouring book for getting into this, into the crease or the spine. So I find a longer point's better for that, but generally I prefer a stubbier point. So you sharpen your pencil, and all the sharpenings are held in the barrel, and that whole top pops off, and you can empty out your shavings at your convenience. So that's that one. There's quite a lot of movement and noise around these Tagal sharpeners. If you have ever coloured with Prismacolor pencils, you will know that they are prone to breakages. The cores in them are so soft, and a lot of people get frustrated and lose a lot of pencil length because they get repeated breakages. This sharpener seems to slow that down and prevent as many breakages and prevent you losing as much of the pencil. And the simple fact for that is it's kind of like a fancier version of this Prismacolor sharpener, in that there is this little wheel here, and it has 5 settings on it, and depending on what number you twist and set that to, gives you an increasingly longer and thinner, pointier point, if that makes sense. So number 1 is a really short, stubby point, and a number 3 is slightly longer, and then if you go to a number 5 you get quite a long point. Now the reason that these are good for Prismacolors is if you use it on a 1 or a 2 setting and you get that short stubby point, that's going to help you to prevent breakages because there's less of the core on show, therefore less of it to snap off. So I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration with a not coloured pencil. Just while we're on the subject, if you are sharpening a pencil properly, you are supposed to turn the sharpener and not the pencil. Again, it's something that some people know about and some people don't. So in order to do that effectively without feeling awkward, you should have your sharpener in your dominant hand because you're going to turn the sharpener. And it always makes me laugh because I'm left-handed, and I'm one of these people that does everything with my left hand. If you put a football down in front of me, I will also kick a ball with my left foot, not my right foot. And you do find with some left-handed people that they write or draw with their left, but they tend to do everything with their right hand. So when it comes to sharpeners, technically I should put my sharpener in my left hand, and so that I'm turning the sharpener. However, weirdly, I find it easier to do it with my right hand, and I don't know why that is, considering I'm such a proud lefty. It makes me laugh a little bit. Anyway, I digress. So I'm going to put this on a number 1 setting, and I'm going to start to sharpen this pencil. And I like the shape of it as well. It's nice and easy to turn. Oh, we're getting there. It's not a bad little sharpener in terms of that. I find that the Prismacolor sharpener is quite awkward because it's round, and it's quite difficult to get purchase on it unless you hold it at the end. But the problem with that is because you have this flap, the flap ends up getting in the way and it's flapping about. So I actually, in terms of the mechanics of sharpening a pencil, I actually prefer this for that as well. Anyway, right, you can see there that is quite a short point, but can you see how much of the core's exposed? Not very much. and that's why it's good for soft pencils like Prismas. So I'm going to put it to number 3 setting now. Oh, look at me go with my right hand. Woo! There you go. So that's a bit of a longer point now. You can see that, you know, you can see the difference. It is quite obvious. And now if I stick this up to number 5, and again the point's longer again. So that's the different settings on it. There is also a closed position, and when you put it to close, there's a little door that comes over here. Now, this is my only, it's not even a complaint about this sharpener. This sharpener is made completely from plastic apart from the blade. The blade is the only metal component, and I don't know whether it's moisture or whether it's heat, but sometimes this door does not close over properly. I don't know if you can actually see in there, but there is like a tiny little gap there. And I find that this happens quite often. Sometimes it only closes over halfway and sometimes it doesn't close over at all. I think it's more to do with temperature rather than a fault of the sharpener. So the only thing to be aware of is that if you do travel with it and your little door doesn't close over, you might get a bit of, you know, pencil shaving. Here we go, I've got some coming out now. You know, it might kind of spill out a little bit. But other than that, it's perfect. To empty it, you just take this plastic cover off at the back. I'm not going to do it because mine's full of sharpenings and it'll just make a mess everywhere. So overall, these are great, but I do only use this sharpener for Prismacolor pencils. And ironically, I use the Prismacolor sharpener for everything else. So that's the sharpeners. Next on the list is my absolute favourite is these Kuretake water brushes. I absolutely love these. I like to use watercolour pencils and sometimes watercolour paint as well. And I use them in journaling as well as drawing and colouring. I have tried a lot of water brushes and I haven't found anything that has as good a water flow as these at the price that these brushes are. These brushes are not expensive. Again, I'll put a link in the description, but I think I bought a pack of 4 and they all have different size tips and different shape tips on them, and I think I paid £7, then that's Great British pounds for the full set, so they are not expensive. So basically what you do is you twist off the top like this, and in here is a little hole, and this is the reservoir. So what you do is you can fill up a glass with water, and then you stick this in and you squeeze, because this plastic is soft, it's very malleable. Ooh, malleable, fancy word, check me out. So you're sucking the water up into the reservoir here, and once you've got as much water as you want or need, you just screw this back on and you give it a gentle squeeze, and what happens is the water scoots down into this barrel part here, and that gets your water flow started, and you can just start painting. You can see there that's actually making a wet mark. There must still be some residue in this part here. If you find the water flow isn't enough, or you're wanting a wetter paint or whatever, you can just give it a little squidge and more water will scoot down and it'll start to flow faster, and off you go again. So it's really good for controlling the water flow. Now this yellow one is the fine detail tip, and you can see there, I mean, it is quite a fine point, and I really like it. Particularly if I'm using it in colouring books, it's a bit easier to stay in the lines. But you do also have this blue one, which is my second favourite, and these are the two that live in my pencil pot on my desk. And this is the broad tip one. It's flat and it's amazing. Again, for doing borders and journals and things like that, or if I want to do a wash, it's a quick, clean and easy way to do it, and I'm not messing about with glasses of water, knocking things over, and yeah, all the usual. So yeah, those are the two that I use, but in the pack also came a purple one, and it is a large brush tip. So if I show you that in comparison to the yellow one, which is the fine detail tip, you know, this is a bad boy. This one is a big one. And there also was a green one as well, which is the medium one. So you have a really good selection of brushes there. And as I say, the water control's pretty good on them. And for the price of them, I'm not even interested in finding another water brush now. These are just great. So I really enjoy these. Okay, so I have 3 more, oh no, I'm telling you absolute lies, I have 5 more items. Now I know this looks like some sort of, you know, belongs in my makeup bag. This is made by the same people as the water brushes, which is Kuretake, and this is a Wink of Stella brush. And basically it's the same sort of brush, and if I just put this down here and show you next to one of the water brushes, you can see that this barrel is very, very similar, and it basically is the same thing, but it is absolutely chock full of glimmery, shimmery glitteriness. And this is great for embellishing your finished projects. I am not a great fan of glitter. I am not a glittery person, but this is so subtle. It's really, really nice. I did do a little bit of a, if I just show you there, it's more of a shimmer, and it's so subtle, but it's just a really nice finishing touch, and it catches the light, you know, when you move the paper about. It's spectacular. You do get them in different colours. This one is the clear one. I think I paid maybe £5, Great British pounds, there or thereabouts. They also have ones called a Wink of Luna, and I think, don't quote me, but I think they are pearlescent ones, and again they come in varying colours. So I really, really like this. I don't use it often, but when I do, it always just finishes a piece off nicely. Now, talking about finishing pieces off, the next thing is quite a common one that you'll probably have seen a lot of people use, and that is the Uniball Signo gel pens. I'm not a person that uses gel pens. I really am a pencil monster. I'm a self-confessed pencil monster, and that is my medium of choice for drawing, colouring in, whatever. In fact, even when I'm writing as well, I like writing with pencil. And these are really, again, the same thing. It's a bit like the Wink of Stella. I use these to finish off or enhance a picture. These seem to be the favourite. Other people like the jelly roll ones, which I haven't tried, but I don't seem to have too many problems with this. Being left-handed, I find that roller balls in general, I don't get on with them. They tend to skip on me anyway, but this is the closest I get to like a smooth finish. And I do have 2 of them. I have the broad one, which is quite a chunky pen. You know, it feels quite substantial. It's quite nice. But I also have the fine one, which is a 0.7. I don't know if you can see that with the silver writing. When you take the caps off them though, they do look quite similar. You know, so there's not a huge difference when you're actually using them. You know, you don't feel a huge difference. But if I just show you here, again on the back of this notepad, this is the fine liner one and this is the broad one, so you can see there is quite a considerable difference, and it's just nice to have that variation, you know, when you're finishing a piece off. You know, if you're doing stars in a background or something, it's nice to have the 2 different sizes because you're not having to work too hard there. So yeah, they're quite good. For someone that doesn't use gel pens, I quite like them. Okay, now next thing is, this is my Derwent battery eraser. I'd be pretty lost without this. I use this all the time. It's like a lazy person's eraser. Now, in the UK we say rubber. I think the Australians might say rubber too. I'm sure I heard someone somewhere say it. It might even have been Peter Hewitt. Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, that's beside the point. This is holds 2 AAA batteries. I've had this about 6 months and I've not had to replace the batteries yet. It doesn't show any signs of slowing down either, which is, well, I suppose that's kind of good, isn't it? Do you know what's funny though? I can never get the cover back on this first time. There we go. So there's a button on the top, and at the end here the eraser sits in this little metal clamp, and that just pulls out and lets you change this as it wears down. Now when I bought this, I think I got 5 replacement erasers, and well, see, I've had that 6 months and I've not had to replace one yet. So, and it is in use every single day, so they do last a while. So anyway, shove that back in there. So when you press this button, the tip rotates at a great rate of knots, a bit like an electric toothbrush, and rubs out your mistakes. So it is quite handy. I'm just going to show you here. Here's some scribbles. So you don't have to press hard with it either, and you can just go back and forth like that. There you go, and you can see there that's taken out a fair chunk of that. So, and it is a good eraser anyway. So I really, really enjoy this product, and it's one of those things that I wouldn't like to be without. Also, I have the Tombow Mono Zero, which is also an eraser, and it's like a mechanical pencil. You can buy refills for this too, and this is just good for really fine, you know, like really tight spaces if you've made a mistake. I find this more useful when I'm colouring as opposed to drawing, and this is a 2.3, but just to show you the difference in the tips, there's the Derwent eraser, and there's the Tombow, it's so weeny. So this is also good, and I like to take this with me if I'm travelling because obviously it doesn't take up an awful lot of space. Okay, and last but not least, this beauty. Now this is actually a makeup brush, and it came in one of those wrap thingies with all the brushes in. When I ran my hand over it and felt how soft it was, I knew I needed to use it for art and not for my face. So I use this mainly when I'm using soft pastels, or if I'm colouring with Prismacolors. They generate a lot of pencil dust, and if you try and brush it away with your hand, it can smear into your paper, whereas if you use a really soft headed brush like this, you can actually flick it off and it doesn't leave a mark on your paper, and it just keeps your work clean. So you can buy these for a couple of pounds. Go into any beauty shop or go to an art supply shop and buy a flat-headed paintbrush, and again it's going to be a couple of pounds, but this is just something that's really handy to have. So I hope you've enjoyed looking through the things that I use every day that sit on my desk, and hopefully you might want to try something new. Bye guys.